Okay, well, should we just start then? I'm hoping more people will chime in. Um, it is 7:07, but did you confirm, Chaz, that invitation did go out to all those people on the list?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, all right. Well, we went from last night 30 people and tonight 1. But it doesn't matter because when 2 or 3 are gathered, right? That's how that goes. So, Susan, were you able to attend the speech reading 101, the original um, session about speech reading and what it's all about and what happens?
It was roughly a month ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I asked if Medicare covered it. I have
Okay.
little notes on my bulletin board, so I keep turning my head. Um,
So you
and
did it.
TED Talk and TED Talks and lip reading,
Good. Uh-huh. Oh, you got notes. That's good.
up reading. Yes, I do have
Okay.
some notes.
Good.
Now,
Well, I
have
just
I actually used them? No. Um, I also have some visual impairments. It was weird. My dad, he had 2 cochlear implants, and his audiologist said either you can basically you can lip read or you can't lip read.
Hmm. Well, we do know that some people are really good at it, or I'll say better at it than others, for sure. Usually if you've been deaf your whole life, that's usually one of the skills that you learn right away. And people who are deaf generally are better at lip reading than people who have lost their hearing later in life. So, but I don't know if I agree totally with your audiologist. I mean, I think some people are better and some people are not, but you can, if you're not terribly good at it, you can get better with practice. So that's the good news. All right. Well, I wanted to know if you had seen the original one because there's a lot of information in there. I'm just going to kind of skim over it tonight to review that. But then we'll get into actually doing some exercises in speech reading. And if you are the only person here, guess what? It's going to be like a speech therapy session. Um,
Okay.
you'll get a feel for that. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. Actually, I'm going to pull that's up. Okay. Okay, can you see that?
The host has asked you to start your video.
Yeah, so you'll have to,
Okay.
okay.
I'm not very techy. So
Okay,
okay. Okay. I
all
pushed
right.
it.
Okay, so this is our speech reading 101. It's actually not speech reading 102, it's 101 session 2. So it's an extension of the original one. And really what we're going to do is, as it says here on this initial slide, just review the elements of cues and prediction, how good we are at predicting what we might be seeing on people's faces or in the context of that communication event. And then reviewing as well visual cues for both consonants and vowels because they're different. And then we'll do some exercises. We'll do some we may do sound exercises, word exercises, phrases, easy phrases and more difficult phrases, and then even sentences. Again, moving from easier or more predictable to more difficult, which would be less predictable. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
I did also include this, again, I wanted to include this online resource. You probably have this from your original, the earlier presentation, which includes a couple of websites that are specific to lip reading practice. And they also have, those websites include graded exercises. And when I say graded, I mean going from easy to difficult or smaller units to larger units of communication. That is sounds to words to phrases to sentences. And as I mentioned, during our first presentation, the UK, Great Britain is really good at lip reading. They have a lot of resources out there. So one of these is practice through a woman with a British accent who is deaf. So definitely utilize, if you're looking to practice and get better at lip reading and you don't have a speech therapist to help you, those are some good resources. And there are other resources as well that are available. And you can just look them up on the internet. Some are better than others, but these are some good sites. Okay. All right, so review of session 1. And we'll talk through this as we go. And then we're, as I said, going to be practicing vowels, consonants, prediction skills, phrases, and sentences. So maybe Susan, since you saw the first presentation, what can you tell me that you remember about that presentation? What are some major points that you recall?
A lot of the vowels and consonants, the lips, it was a very minute change, which was difficult.
Mhm.
Prediction, kind of where the environment is, you
Mhm.
can somewhat predict what people are saying.
Right.
And a lot of phrases,
Mhm.
depending on the conversation, you can kind of figure out what they're saying.
Right, right, yeah. So, yes, so we talked about vowels as being those smallest units, right? And vowels are different on the mouth depending on where they are occurring in the mouth, right? Short vowels are harder because short vowels like and eh are in the middle of the mouth. We make them in the middle of the mouth. So it's harder for someone who is using lip reading, not speech reading, but lip reading, watching my mouth to understand, is she saying an or an eh? They both look the same, and I'm going to do them silently just so you can see how close they are to each other. So here's, and the other one is, can you tell the difference between those two?
No.
Nope, probably not. So that's where we start to use that guessing to kind of put other pieces together to figure out what that word might be. And some of those other skills include looking for consonants. And we talked about different kinds of consonants, consonants that are made in the back of the mouth, which are called velar consonants. And those are also really hard to read, like k and g. L is actually not a velar consonant, but it is made in the back of the mouth. Those are very hard to see. On the other hand, consonants that are made in the front of the mouth, especially on the lips, but also on the teeth with the tongue, are also easier to see. Can you think of any consonants that we make with our two lips?
I'm thinking M and N.
Mm, mm. Yep. And there are a couple others. Can you think of any others?
P,
Yep. P, p. And
B,
good, good. B, b. So they all look very similar, except we know that is slightly longer, and b and pa are just short connections between the lips, right? So those are easy to see on the mouth. The other ones that are not so far back as velars, but still kind of in the front, but not terribly easy to see, are those that we make tip dentals, they're called, and they're made with the tip of our tongue and our teeth. And those are sounds like t, d, sh, j, okay? And then we also have other sounds called fricatives, which are made with our lips and our teeth, not our tongue and our teeth, but our lips and our teeth. They're also pretty easy to see, like f, f, and v, okay? So when we can see other consonants around a vowel, we can get a better handle on what that sound or that word might be. The other thing that I didn't mention is some vowels are relatively easy to see. So there are vowels that are also made in the front of our mouth, and usually they include more lip movement because they're in the front of our mouth. So a vowel like E, we see the spreading of the lips, or oo, where we see rounding of the lips. All right, so those are also relatively easy to see. Back vowels, again, those short vowels, and the back vowels like ah, eh, I are very hard. They all look the same. So we can use what we can decipher on people's lips to begin to put together what that word might be in the context of all the words around it, right? And that's where we begin to use prediction. And then the phrases and sentences we'll be practicing tonight. We'll see a little bit more about that. Okay, so thinking about our quiz from last time, let's go back through and see what you did learn, okay? So these are the same questions we had at the start of our first presentation. Let's see how many you can get correct, okay? Some speakers are easier to lip read than others. Is that true or false?
True.
That is true. Very good. 1 point for you. People who are harder to lip read, they may be fast talkers, right? Maybe they don't move their mouth a whole lot. Maybe they talk like this all the time and it's really hard to see. Or maybe they have facial hair like a mustache or a beard that covers their lips. Some people are kind of more open, more upright when they speak. Other people might be down here when they talk. So definitely there are big differences in how people speak and how well people can lip read them. Okay. Number 2, it's easier to lip read a single sound than words or phrases. Is that true or false?
I think that was false.
That's correct. It is not easier to read a single sound. Why not?
It's not in context.
That's right. The context plays a huge role, and that's when we start to talk about speech reading versus lip reading. Good. All consonants are equally easy to lip read. True or false?
False.
That's right. We just talked about that. Depending on where they occur in the mouth. Learning to lip read the speaker's mouth is the first step in successful lip reading and speech reading. True or false?
Agreed. I'm gonna say true.
False.
Yeah.
So
You can tell
actually,
by my answer, it was kind of like, eh.
not too sure about that. Yeah, and the key word there is first step. So really, the first thing that we need to do is consider the context, and then we work down from there, right? We got to get the big picture before we start working on the little picture. All right, communication context plays a significant role in lip reading skill. True or false?
True.
Yep, and that's what we just said. That context is so important. Speech reading is a skill you can learn with practice and knowledge. True or false?
True.
True. We talked about that a little bit, that people can get better if they practice. And Finally, developing speech reading and lip reading can help reconnect people to their environment around them.
True.
True. Yeah, obviously. So you actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those correct. That was great. So you did learn something. I'm so happy that you learned something from session 1. Good. All right, let's think again, bigger context to start out with. Tips for successful lip reading and speech reading. First of all, you want to reduce the distractions around you as much as you can, okay? And maximize your attentional abilities. So this may mean things like taking a break. Don't try and do lip reading for a long period of time. Maybe a few sentences or a brief interaction with someone is enough to exhaust your brain. So make sure that when you're doing it, you give your brain a rest if it needs a rest. That way you will be most successful. You can also try and imagine sound. If I see this movement, what kind of sound is that making?
I was reading it. Can you show me that again? Oh, like I understand and nodding my head, like I understand.
Yes, but on my lips, what sound is that I'm making?
Oh, not a clue.
All right, so that is an E. Try to imagine that sound. So if you can see and know what a sound looks like on someone's mouth, you can start to put those sounds together. So if I say, what did I just say? You can imagine the first sound is, right? And the next sound is,
So it could be a B or a P and an E.
yep, you're very good. It's B. Yep. So you can kind of imagine B, B, and then you can start to put things together. And that's the important piece in lip reading. You have to start to put those sounds together. You may not get all of them, but if you can put pieces together, you can figure out what the word is, right? And I liken this to, it's kind of interesting. I liken this to finger spelling. When you are doing sign language and you have to finger spell words, that means putting letters on your hands, right? Spelling words by letters. And I am fluent in ASL and sign language. But the difficulty I had when I was first learning how to finger spell was in watching other people finger spell, which is a lot like lip reading. Because what's happening is you see letters, but you don't know how they all fit together. You can say, oh, that was, she just did an M. Oh, and there's an O, and there's a T, and there's an H, and then there's an E and an R. But my brain is not saying, oh, that word is mother. My brain is saying M-O-T-H-E-R. So it's still seeing them all segmented, but if you do it long enough, your brain starts to see them all together. And the same thing happens in speech reading, that if you work at it long enough and you practice enough, your brain doesn't see those sounds as individual units anymore. It actually sees them as connected sounds. Okay. So trying to imagine what those sounds are, and if, again, using that analogy of finger spelling, if I start to imagine, oh, the M-O-T, that's M-O-T-H, moth, I'm starting to put some things together and helping my brain figure out what it means, right? All right, so the other thing, another thing that you want to do for successful lip reading is observe the speech rhythm. So we talked about people who are fast talkers, really hard to lip read because there's very little cadence and rhythm to their speech. So you just saw me pause between two words. So you knew that that was two or more words, right? Whereas sometimes when you have a fast speaker, very difficult to observe that. Those rhythms, not just of pauses, but also the cadence, the stress on the vowels is really important. So we know that our hearing aids can probably pick up loudness and word stress, right? So when I talk about word stress, I mean syllable stress, like mother, not mother, but mother. So that stress actually allows us to be better predictors of what that word might be. I'm going to let this, someone else is joining us. Whoops, going to go back. Okay, so word stress, speech rhythm. And then, of course, you want to optimize lighting. Very difficult to lip read and speech read when you're in a dark space. So you want light on the speaker's face if possible. You don't want to have light behind them. Unfortunately, I have light behind me today. I have a little halo because I have ceiling lights up here. I'm trying to block one out, but I'm just pretending I have a halo like an angel. But yeah, ideally, you don't want to have other lights obscuring your ability to watch that face closely. Okay. So, and we want to begin to combine our skills for better lip reading, and that includes watching the face and lip movements, but also using the context and guessing, taking risks. Watch for gesture, watch for other body movements, okay? That will give us some clues. Again, we're starting to think bigger now. Keeping track of the conversation. So if you are trying to lip read and, for instance, you didn't catch something someone said, or if someone over here interrupts and they stop talking, be an advocate for yourself. Say, what was that word that you just said? Can you say that again? Allowing yourself to politely ask for repetition. Was talking a little bit yesterday to a group about not necessarily always using what all the time. That just gets annoying. So you want to be an advocate, a polite advocate for yourself. And you can even disclose, I have a bit of a hearing loss and I'm having a hard time hearing you, or it's very noisy in here. Can you say that again? Just little ways of advocating for ourselves that are polite and don't irritate the person that you're talking to, because you know how it is when people just continue to say, what? You know, when little kids will say that to you, it's like, oh, forget it. And maybe you've heard that before, but so being an advocate for yourself, also enlisting someone to help you. My speech buddy is my husband. So if we go out and we're with, say, another couple or a couple couples, he is always sitting on my left, on my bad ear, because my good ear on the right is catching quite a bit. But anyone talking on my bad ear side, I'm not going to be able to hear them very well, even with my wonderful hearing aid. So I may ask him or look for clues from him about what that person on my bad side might be saying. So using a speech buddy to help you, or you can even talk with them and say, oh, what did Joe next to you just say? What was it that he's talking about? So that can give you some good context clues. And then finally, the other tip for successful speech reading and lip reading is using other clues. Again, the situation that you are in. You know, what kinds of things might you hear? What kinds of vocabulary might you hear? And looking for reactions. So I always know, and you may have experienced this, if I'm replying to someone and my reply didn't match what they just said to me, I get this kind of blank look, or this kind of like, oh, yeah. So, and then I know I've missed something, and that's when I'm going to ask for Can you say, oh, I'm sorry, did I miss something? Can you say that again? Or what was it that you said? So watching for reactions. You can also watch for reactions, emotional reactions in the context of the conversation that will help you to predict what's being said. So these are all good general clues for good lip reading and speech reading. Think about those things. Okay, large group. Well, we don't have a large group this evening, so I think we're just going to do small group. I'm going to go one-to-one. We have two other people that have joined us, Peg and Catherine, looks like. So we're all going to work together because there's a small number of us here tonight. I think Chaz is taking a little break. He's just helped us out with running the Zoom meeting, so I don't expect him to join us. But Catherine and Peg, welcome. And we're just doing some review and we've gone through that. Is there anything that I need to review from our first session? Did both of you attend the first session? Speech reading session? No, Peg says no. Catherine, what about you? Did you attend the first session? Now, if you want to talk to me briefly, you can hit your space bar on your computer. If you're on a computer, you can just hit the space bar, press it down and speak without having to turn anything on. I'm not sure. Oh, Catherine, maybe you're using an iPad. That's a little different. And I can't see, I know you're saying something because I can see once in a while I see your mouth moving, but the your camera is only showing the top of your head. So, but anyhow, so we reviewed the first session that we,
I'm on my phone.
oh,
I had
you're on
come
your
with my
phone.
iPad.
Okay, did you attend the first session, Catherine?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, we just got through some of the first session talking about consonants and vowels and facts about speech reading, truths and truths and untruths about speech reading and lip reading. But again, what I want to spend most of our time doing here today is practicing, because that's the important piece of lip reading. Practice, practice, practice. And you can do a little bit of this practice. Just really quickly, for those who did not attend the first session, I'm going to run back. I hope you don't mind, Susan. I'm going to run back to that slide that has a couple of resources on it for you to do practice. They're internet resources. So let me go back there a second. This one. Okay, do you see those two websites there? www.lipreading.org. That's a good one for simple and more complicated exercises in lip reading. And then the other one is HTTPS, and there's no www in front of this one, but it's lipreadingpractice.co.uk, and that's a United Kingdom, Great Britain address. Lipreadingpractice.co.uk. Both of those sites are excellent for just practice, okay? So let me go back to our, okay? So let's start by reviewing vowels again. We have to, when we're lip reading, we have to think about where is that vowel happening? Vowels happen in different places in our mouth. In the front, up by our teeth or lips. And that would include E. See how my lips are helping me with that? E. Oo. Again, my lips are rounded. O. And that's open mouth and then closing. O. Right. And these are the easiest to see. Like the word show. Easier to understand, or she. Easier to understand than off. right? Because I'm not really doing anything with the front of my mouth. So look for those vowels in the front. There also tend to be a little longer duration than some of the other vowels, the vowels that are made in the front. So she is a longer vowel than up, very short. Okay. And our back vowels are very hard to see. So one of the things that you will think about when you're trying to lip read is, if I didn't see a vowel, it's probably in the middle or the back of the mouth. It's probably a short vowel like ah, ow, eh. But one thing that we do see with those back vowels is the jaw is usually dropped open a little bit. Ah, eh. Okay. So that helps us to know what that vowel might be. And then the ones that are in the middle are usually the hardest to distinguish. Eh, ah. And you can see there's not a lot of movement either in the front or in my jaw for either one of those. So, and they're very short duration, so we don't get a lot of information there. So watching the lips and the jaw shapes, whether it's open or closed, will offer us a lot of information in terms of what vowel is it we are seeing that person say, okay? Before we go on to consonants, let's do some practice with some vowels. I'm going to make some vowels, and I'm not going to use my voice. See, and I want you just to chime in if you know what, or think you know what this vowel is. Are you ready? Here we go. It's just a single vowel. What could that
E.
be? Very good. Yep. How about this one?
The O.
It's ooh. Ooh, ooh. How about this one?
Eh.
Yes, good. How about this one? What sound is that?
The I.
No, close though. It's ah. Okay, so good though. Both of them. Nice, nice. All right, let's go on to consonants. All right, we talked about, and Susan and I were talking about this a little bit. Consonants bilabial, which means two lips, bilabial, made on the lips. These are the easiest consonants to see, and they include B, 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 P, 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 also including F and V, because we use our lips for those. They're going to be the easiest. They're all the way in the front of the mouth. So they're easy to see. Tip dentals are made with the tip of our tongue on our teeth. Tip of our tongue on our teeth. Those are a little harder to see, but we usually can still see them, especially if we're closer to the speaker. So I'm going to move a little closer to my camera here. So one might be D, T, T, N, N. You see my tongue? N. You can see my tongue come up for that one. L, L. My tongue is coming out a little bit for the L. The TH
Yeah.
is between the teeth. SH, shh. You can see my lip movement there, right? Kind of an interesting lip movement. Shh, or ch, ch, ch. And the S and Z, which are a little harder, right? And then we have the back consonants, which are hardest to see because they're made in the back of the mouth. We don't get a lot of information, visual information from those. K, 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 G, 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 Ng, and so, and the H can be confused with a vowel if we don't hear a sound. So using your visual skills to watch for those movements in the front of the mouth and on the teeth will help you most. Let's try and do some guessing in terms of the consonant that I am saying. Let's see. Anybody know what consonant that is?
Can you redo it?
Mm-hmm.
L?
Yes, it's an L. Mm-hmm. Yep. How about this one?
S-H.
An SH. You're right. So if I did something like this, what was the word I just said?
G.
She. Yeah, she. Oh, we lost somebody. So that's where you begin to start to see words on lips. Start putting those sounds together. Okay, let's go on. Now, one of the other things that we want to do is, and I mentioned this earlier, thinking about the duration of the word. The word she is a very short duration, a small word, right? But the word, say, oh, I'm just trying to think of an example. Sheep, you can tell has another sound, right? At the end. There's a sound there at the end. What is the sound that I just made at the end? The P's. Sheep, sheep. So you see that sheep. Okay. So thinking about a one syllable word versus maybe a 2 or 3 syllable word, man. But if I say manatee, it's going to be much longer. Okay. So you have to pay attention to how long is the word? Is it a short word, long word? Okay. Or another example here is versus, you know, that second word is much longer, right? You and youthfulness. So we know, oh, that word has an element of you in it. I think I saw that, but it's a much longer word. So think about not just the word length, but also what kind of word might it be in the context that you're working in. So as we begin to combine sounds in speech and in lip reading, we begin to rely more and more on context, okay? So, for instance, what are some words that you would expect to hear in some of these situations? What's something that you might expect to hear in a grocery store checkout? What are some words?
Mm-hmm.
How about have a nice day? Or did you find everything you were looking for? Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Or do you want your receipt? Okay. So typical words that you can predict based on that context. What about in a pharmacy? What are some words or phrases that you might see? I know a big one, a long one. Maybe.
Did you apply my secondary insurance?
Yeah. So, and you might not get the first part of that sentence, but you might get the word insurance, right? Medication. All right. Refill. Okay, so thinking about what words am I going to come across in this context? And that will help you to be a better lip reader. What about words that are weather words? What kinds of words are weather words? When we're just chatting, talking to somebody about the weather. What are some words that might come up?
Forecast,
Forecast, good one. Maybe, which is what?
s- snow, rain, sleet,
Rain.
hail. When it's gonna start, my husband worked for NOAA, so
Yeah, well, there you go. So, yep. So all those words, maybe weather, or
it's
cold, hot, right? Yep.
accumulation.
Accumulation, that's a long one, right? So you're going to look for that as, wow, that's a long one. That's an easy one to read. Okay. What about in the auto shop? What are some words that you might come across? Maybe something like $1,000, right? Or
Transmission,
good transmission, or electrical, or tires.
The tires, yeah.
Or maybe you might even have somebody talk to you about the day of the week. It's going to be ready on Wednesday. Okay. Et cetera, et cetera. So that's an example of predicting. What words can you expect to see or hear? All right. Okay, we're not going to do teams. So I'm going to have you do some words without context and see how you do. Okay. So we'll start with some, um, we'll start with some short words. All right. Let's see how well you do here. All right. The first one is, I'll do it again.
mine,
Yes, good. Good. Could be my or mine. Good. The next one is,
40,
it's 4. Yes. Now 4 and 40, let's think about how they look. 40 is a little longer word, right? So here's 4 and here's 40. You notice that last little movement there? That's the difference between those two, right? That last little E sound,
Yeah,
right?
birdie.
And that spread lips that helps you know there's an E sound on the end of that. All right, here's another short word. No,
mine,
no. If it were mine, my lips would be getting put together. I'm not putting my lips together. That's a little harder because then that closer to the middle of my mouth. I'm using a tip dental.
Would that be end?
No, you're getting closer though. There's an N in there. Not. Not. Okay. So those are some short words. Not. Not. See, my lips weren't even coming together. My jaw dropped for that
I do not.
not. Not. Now let's do some words that are a little bit longer. Ready?
Would that be mutton?
Mother, yes.
uh,
All right, the next one is
bluebird.
nope, that's kind of a hard one. It's kind of a long one though. It's got 3 syllables.
Uh-huh.
Com com computer,
Uh-huh.
computer.
See, uh,
Hmm.
uh, uh,
Here's a little
Oh.
phrase. You ready? Anybody want to take a stab at that one?
Can you redo it?
Mhm. I'm going to give you a little bit of context. You might hear a mother saying this early in the morning to one of her children.
Be quiet.
good
Go back to
morning.
bed.
Good
School
morning.
school bus.
Cool.
School bus. So there's the ooh,
Cool
right?
bus.
Yeah, we don't really see the S, but we see the ooh, bus, right? There
Did
it is.
not get that one at all.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we did it basically without context. You were closer when we started using context. So let's go, I'm gonna move on. Okay, we talked about the auto shop. What are some sentences that you might see a person say at the veterinarian? I think veterinarian is spelled wrong here, but whatever. At the veterinarian, what are some things that people say at the veterinarian? Sentences. They might say something like, um, your dog needs medicine. What's another one?
A medicine there. Medicine.
Yeah, medicine. What's another phrase or sentence you might hear at the vets? Or at your doctor's office for that matter. What's the trouble? Okay, so the L at the end. What's the trouble?
Oh,
All right. If we're making travel reservations, let's say for a hotel, okay? You're talking to someone about reserving a hotel. What are some things that people might say making travel reservations?
How much does it cost?
Yup. How much is a room? Good. What else?
what is the room like?
Good. What is the room like? Maybe is it an accessible room? Right?
Is it
Yes.
near to attractions?
Right. Is it close or near to attractions? Good. How much is the room? Yep, good. Nice. So those are some things that we might predict people would say. And then here's sort of an odd scenario. Repainting your house exterior. What are some things people, your painter might say to you?
What color?
Absolutely. What color do you want? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How
Oh,
many rooms?
yeah, good, good. Or it will,
What-
I can start next week, right? Good, good. So thinking about those things that we just mentioned in terms of what we might see, maybe we'll see those a little down the road here. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do some more practice with phrases this time. The first context that we have is meeting someone new. And I'm going to do some phrases that you might see when you're meeting someone new. You tell me what the phrase is, okay? Here's the first one, meeting someone new.
What is your name?
Yeah, what's your name?
Where do you live?
Yes, good. Where do you live? All right. Um,
Where did you grow up?
Very good. That was a hard one. Good. You see how easy that was when you knew what the context was? You didn't have to lip read every single word. You didn't have to lip read, where did you grow up? But because you knew the context, you were able to figure out basically what I said, right? So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about speech reading. Let's do another one. Doctor's office, okay? Here's another one. Ready?
What?
I'll do that one again. Ready?
I didn't get it because I'm reading the captain and looking
Oh,
at it at the same time.
I'll do it again.
What the name?
No. What's
What
your
is
name would be
the
a pretty short
appointment?
one. Yes, when is your appointment? When is your appointment? Good. Here's another one.
And you feeling now?
That's very close, very close. Fill this out. But yeah, it could be how you feeling now. That would also be certainly reasonable. Good. All right, let's go to the restaurant scenario. Okay, here's the next one.
What
What would you
like
like?
the dessert?
Would you like some dessert? Would you like some dessert? Good. Um, Here's another one.
Do you want to put that?
Yes. Do you want separate checks? Very good. Um, Here's another one.
Would you like order a drink?
Very good. Oh, you must spend all your time out at restaurants, Catherine. You got all those.
Oh, not all the time.
Good.
Good fun tip.
Good. All right. And then the last scenario, a hotel check-in. Okay. And the person behind the counter is saying,
How can I help you with something?
no,
How?
I
I,
need the person behind the counter. It's a question or a request, I should say. I need your,
a credit card.
I need your credit card. Good.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Here's another one. Ready?
You on the third floor?
Yes, good, Catherine. Great. Good. Yeah, you're on the third floor. Very nice. Here's the last one.
Private something.
Something breakfast?
Yeah, breakfast. So what would you hear about breakfast?
Perhaps what time it is?
Yes. So what time am I saying?
Private.
8. 8. And again, thinking about, okay, what times would breakfast be? Well, it
Mm.
could be 6, but did she say 6? No. Did she say 7? No, that would look like this. Did she say 8? Yes. So again, thinking about the duration of that word, was it a 1-syllable word? Was it 2 syllables? Did it have a lot of sounds or just a few? Right? Good. So that was really good. All right, you remember some of the sentences that we just came up with, right? Let's go back and I'm going to select some. Again, I'll give you the context and you tell me which one it was that I said, okay? This is travel.
Private division.
I'm going to say it again.
How was your room?
Or how much is the room? How much is your room? Good. All right. Repainting your house exterior. Remember, this is all about painting.
I want to say cost.
Close. What?
Color?
Yeah, what
What
color?
color the room?
Yeah, what color do you want? Good. All right, we're going to go back up to the veterinarian. Um,
What's the dog's name?
Good. And I don't know if we actually talked about that one, but yes, good, Catherine. And then finally, the auto shop. Here's the sentence. It's ready. It's ready. When is it ready? When's the car going to be ready? On Wednesday. On Wednesday, right?
Oh, it got Wednesday. Oh, good.
There's that W sound. Wednesday. And my jaw opened up for that A sound. Wednesday. Good. Okay. All right. So again, just to review, it's important if you want to get better at speech reading and lip reading, important that you practice. You don't have to practice for a long time, but every day for a short period. You can use the sources that I gave you on the internet. You can use a conversation with another person. Also things like TED Talks or podcasts. Well, not podcasts because you don't get a visual, but recordings of people who are talking about something in particular, right? Maybe a subject that you know about. And guess what? If you're really good at that, then try a subject that you don't know a lot about that is less predictive. So again, just using those resources, TED Talks, little YouTube videos, those resources that I gave you are excellent. All those are excellent. You want to start with a really highly structured task, like we did was pretty highly structured tonight. We used the context. We talked about sample words that you might hear, sample phrases, and then we practice those. That's a pretty highly structured task. You work from easy to more challenging. So a more challenging task is going to be a casual conversation with someone you have no idea what the context is or what they want to talk about. That's a very challenging situation, okay? Again, using those lip reading resources available to you. If you have a spouse or a significant other that you do a lot of communication with, that's a great buddy to have with you to practice lip reading, because guess what? You lip read their mouths all day long, right? So use those people close to you that you do a lot of communication with if they're willing to engage with you to do this practice. You want to make sure that you maximize those visual channels the way that we talked about earlier in terms of optimizing your visual with that person, you know, positioning yourself so that you can see their face easily, making sure the lighting is good, etc. Avoiding distractions, and make sure your hearing aids are working in good working order for you, because you're also collecting information from those hearing aids that you can add to your lip reading. And that way you're going to maximize your ability to interpret that signal that you're getting, both visual and auditory, right? And then again, self-advocating for yourself in a polite way as you need to. We know that people who are risk takers are better lip readers. People who don't dare guess or who don't dare to say anything are not such great lip readers. So the more that you can put yourself out there, take some risks, make some guesses, and self-advocate, the better off you're going to be. Okay. And of course, this is a little plug for me, but enlisting help from a trained professional that can guide you through those lesson hierarchies from simple to complex and work with you on a regular basis and really track your progress can feel good. Okay, so that's certainly an option. All right, so it is just after 8 o'clock, and I'm wondering if either of you has any questions for me.
Can you send me the website in the email?
Sure, I can probably find your email. I
That would
think
be
I have a
great because
list.
I lip read myself. I would have to read lips.
Right. Okay.
I was taught to read lips from school.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so that's really cool that they
So
do that.
yeah, yeah. I thought I told you at the convention.
Oh, right. Yes, we did see each other at the convention, didn't we? That was nice.
Yeah, yes,
So
we did. Yes, yes, we did. That was great.
yeah. Yeah, I would say, lip reading and speech reading has fallen out of favor in recent years. When we're talking about learning, especially if you went to a school for the deaf or if you had someone working with you at
No,
school.
I went to a school where they had fun to class for hard of hearing.
Okay, yeah. So,
It was a number 31 school, but they closed.
oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what? My two speech therapy teacher are still living.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah,
fun.
we keep in touch.
Oh, that's great. That's really nice. That's
Yes,
nice.
yes.
Yeah, so for years, it was all about oral communication, right? And then oral communication for people who were deaf and hard of hearing, it sort of fell out of favor, and it was all about total communication and using
I
sign.
can't believe this. I can't believe. You know what? I talked to people. People ask me if I relapsed. I said, yes. They can't believe I do it.
Yeah, yeah. So you got lots of practice when you were in school, and that's probably one reason why you're such a good lip reader.
Oh yes, oh
Yeah.
yes, oh yes.
But
Yes.
now it's coming back into fashion a little bit. People are realizing that, hey, it's not just about total communication. It's about what works for you, and different things work for different people. So it's coming
Yes,
back to
it's
fashion.
true.
But yeah, more
Mm.
accepted. So I've been enjoying doing these classes. This is the second one I've done this program year. Last year I did 1 and 2 also. So it's been a lot of
Oh, I see. I didn't keep up. I didn't keep up. I'm sorry.
fun. Yeah. So I'm sorry I'm talking really fast here. But
So in the past, people kind of lip reading and then it went out of vogue and then came back. Is that what you're
yes.
saying?
Yeah. So in the old days, um, if you were deaf or very hard of hearing, that was your school's job to teach you how to lip read and speak, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the, I would
Right.
say, 80s and 90s, with big D, deaf culture, they were very much against that.
I'm talking about in the 50s.
Yeah, well, yeah. So,
So
but then,
back to the 80s.
so during that time, with deaf culture, deaf power, Gallaudet University, etc., it was all about we don't need to speak. We don't need to learn how to communicate with people who are hearing or who speak. We want to learn how to communicate in our own language, and we're okay. So that's when it kind of fell out of favor, and it was much more focused on sign language learning. Now the pendulum has swung the other direction, where people are realizing that, okay, sign is great, lip reading is also great. And if we use all of these tools available to us, we're going to be better communicators. So it's kind of swung in the other direction now. Yeah, much more in fashion, as they say. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people I wanted to take sign language is like, who do you sign with?
Oh, right. Yeah. So a lot of people who have a lot of hearing loss will say, oh, I guess I need to learn sign language now. But guess what? You don't really use sign language with anyone unless they really know sign language really well. And those people are few and far between, especially if you live in the hard of hearing community. Now, it might be different if you're in the deaf culture community, but when you're hard of hearing, there aren't that many people who actually sign or can sign fluently. So it's not that useful of a tool, but it is the first thing our brains go to when we become pretty deaf, right? So,
Well,
yeah.
because where I live, it's a 55 plus, and I got this text last week. Does anyone know how to sign?
Hmm. Was there someone there that needed someone who knew how to
She was
sign?
looking for an apartment, I guess,
Oh,
and her vision, I guess, wasn't as very good either. So between being essentially deaf and visually impaired, um, I I didn't know how to sign. I didn't.
hmm.
So no one here knew how to communicate with this lady.
Oh, so difficult, so isolating.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
very
felt
terrible.
for her, but I'm like, I can't help you via
Right.
text.
Feel helpless. But could she see enough to read words on a page?
From my understanding, somehow they signed or into her hand,
Oh,
like
yes. Yes,
because
that's fine,
or
signing. Yeah, your finger spell everything on somebody's hand so they can see the words, so to speak.
It's fun. That's what I
she
did.
probably isn't a good
I
candidate
never
to live where
learned
I'm living,
sign.
Mm, mm,
but yet you're mentally alert. It's
right.
very
I met
frustrating.
a man once who was deaf-blind. He was completely deaf, completely blind, and he had a one-to-one aide with him at all times. And he did not let his handicap stop him whatsoever. He traveled the world with his aid, and he would meet people and talk to them, and his deafblind interpreter would just, sign on his hand everything that was happening, everything that he was seeing, what people were saying.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I had
Yeah.
so much respect and admiration for someone. You've got to be pretty brave to do that. But he would not let his handicap stop him. So he was an interesting guy. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, I'm glad that you two showed up, and I'm sorry we lost our other person tonight, but you both did a great job. You just got a free lip reading therapy session, so be happy for that.
Yay.
And maybe we'll see you again. Thanks so much for being here, both of you.
Okay, let's have a lot the next time.
Okay, thanks,
Okay.
Catherine. I'll send those links to your email, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye
Thanks again. Have a good night.
bye.